And we're live.
Click it. Click the button.
We're live once again.
Click the button. Click it. Click it.
I was so hoping it would go live as you were saying that.
I was ready. I'm going, click it. Go ahead and click it. Let's go. Let's click it. It's 11 o'clock. Click it. Hey, how you doing? It's a Feel Good Friday brought to you by our buddy, Billy Merritt, Billy W. Merritt. And you got to throw the W in there. It sounds all official and stuff. Smith behind the scenes there behind me. He's the guy who actually does the clicking where I was going, click it, turn it on. I'm Paul Sullivan. How are you? Feel Good Friday. So, well, before we got a lot to get into, but before we even go into that, we're just going to go right to it. I have got my beer of the week. We're going right to it real early.
That was quick.
Got my beer of the week. It is Sam Adams Winter Lager. It's one of my favorites. And look, I even have the matching. Well, you can't really see it very well, but I even have the matching glass so you can actually see what the beer looks like today. So I'm going to do this. And by the way, this easy pour goes out to my niece Amy, who still has not figured out. She's in her 30s and still has not figured out how to pour a beer into a glass, without having it foam all over the place. So there you go. No, but it's a really nice color. It's kind of a golden reddish color, whatever. But it's a spiced, and now you're gonna love this. Smith. Smith's not a big drinker. Although he did guzzle that one. We have it on film. You can go back and look. He did guzzle one down pretty good. But you're gonna love just the description of this. Okay, this is Samuel Adams Winter Lager. Again, I have the glass that matches even, thanks to my brother-in-law, Brian, who works for Sam Adams. The description is it is a spiced wheat Bach style beer. Okay. With notes of orange, cinnamon, and ginger.
What does it mean?
So I was going to say, so it sounds very gourmet, doesn't it? It sounds like some, fancy concoction that Smith would come up with, with his ramen noodles or something like that. But in other words, it's a very delicious beer is what I'm trying to say. So Smith, if you had to come up with something with orange, ginger, and cinnamon, beer probably wouldn't be the first thing you would choose, would it?
Probably not. Orange, ginger, and cinnamon.
Man, that's good. This is a really good beer. Whenever Winter Lager comes out, same way with Oktoberfest. When Sam Adams Oktoberfest comes out, I'm always excited. And this was my first. I bought the 6-pack, so it's not the first beer. I had a couple of them the other day. But so this is my first 6-pack of the year, and I say this every year. I'm like, oh, it's good this year, and it is. It's very good this year. So good morning to my mom and to Robert Brooker. Thanks for joining us. Our beer of the week again. You're going to hear me say this one a lot because I really like this beer. So Sam Adams Winter Lager. By the way, it's 5.6 alcohol by volume, so it's a little bit stronger than some of the regular ones, but it's not really over the top. It's not like, oh, I'm going to have one and I can't feel my face and all that kind of stuff. So, all right, so let's get into the big test. Oh, by the way, dang it, I did it again. There we go. By the way, there's the beer. There's the beer of the week. There's the beer. So there's the beer of the week. So now let's go ahead and let's turn the page. Smith, the Braves won the World Series. Let me get out of the way for just a second here. World champion Atlanta Braves. How cool is that? So congratulations. Congratulations to all the Braves and the Braves fans. I know lots of people here that live in Georgia, lots of my friends that are super happy rooting on the Braves. And they were complete underdogs. I mean, they were never they were really bad before the All-Star break. So, even if they made the playoffs was pretty amazing. So for them to win the World Series, a job well done. By the way, if you are a Braves fan, the parade is at noon in Atlanta today. And I don't mean like you're going to drive up there, but they're going to have it on TV on some of the local channels. So you can look that up if you want to watch the Braves, their championship, celebration parade and all that kind of stuff that starts at noon. So that'll be right after our show's over. See, so you don't have to turn away. So you can do that coming up at 12 o'clock. Robert Brooker, by the way, Sam Adams Oatmeal Stout, a favorite from yesterday. I knew I liked Robert. I knew I did. I knew it. That is a really good beer. Sam Adams has, they have a lot of unique beers that they come out with, the seasonals, the ones I've talked about them before. I even have my hat again, thanks to my Sam Adams hat, thanks to my brother-in-law, Brian, who works for Sam Adams, who hooked me up. But they have a lot of beers that they come out with and then they only do it for a short amount of time. Sometimes they just let them go. They don't release them again, all that kind of stuff. So I know I'm kind of going back and forth, but that's pretty typical of our show. With Sam Adams, by the way, the Winter Lager, again, beer of the week. It is also in the Cheers, the Beers for Cheers, the variety pack for the holidays that has Old Fezziwig. I'm going to buy that 12-pack and I'm going to bring in Old Fezziwig as a beer of the week. I know it sounds weird, Old Fezziwig. It's really, really good. They didn't put it in the pack last year. There was a lot of upset people, So they brought it back this year and everybody's happy. So, everything's back to normal now. By the way, Braves, Braves fans, excuse me, by the way, for coughing in the microphone, but the Braves, put up the Fezziwig label.
All right. Ooh, there's a big picture of it right there.
Yeah, use that one because that's the old label, but that's the one I want you to use. So use the one, the big one. Yeah, that one over to the right. That one. Okay, now take a look at this label here.
Oh, we got a light right in his face.
Okay, that's okay. It's Old Fezziwig. So I mean, it was designed like the Scrooge, the Christmas Carol, type of thing. But a very festive label. A nice, very festive label. And now go back and then pull up that red one, the new one. It's just like it's like a light red. I think it's over to the far left. I think it is. Is that it, or is that Oktoberfest?
Oh no, they're
that's Oktoberfest. I can tell.
It's 2020.
Yeah.
So.
But they have it now where now it's just like, well, in fact, it's similar. This is the winter lager label. That's just, it's just gold and blue, which is kind of lame. I mean, delicious beer, but I don't really like the packaging, but I mean, you don't drink the package. So that's quite all right.
Kind of minimalist, I guess.
Yeah. That's what, they're trying to make it more modern and all that kind of stuff. I'm like, just make the beer. That's all you got to do. Just make the beer. But anyway, so the Braves, now the big thing is, are they going to re-sign Freddie Freeman? Who has like just been the man. I mean, such a class act. How can you not like Freddie Freeman? So now he's a free agent. So we'll see if he actually comes back to the Braves. Also, just to somehow work in my Chicago Cubs, Jock Peterson, he was a Cub earlier in the year. Then they traded him to the Braves. So maybe that's why just saying. There could have been a Cubs connection there somewhere. But no, in all seriousness, congratulations to the Atlanta Braves and to all the Braves fans out there. By the way, Billy actually got to go. He went to Houston for Game 6 when they clinched it. So he was there in Houston when they actually won the championship. So how cool is that? Him and his wife April got an opportunity to go and flew over to Houston, and they were in the stadium, which is it's pretty cool. Again, it's obviously going to be so much more exciting if you can win in your home park. But hey, if they win, they win. So, I mean, it's still exciting. By the way, if you're a friend of Billy's, or if you just know Billy a little bit, you might want to hop on over to his page and ask him about the Broxton slap. Just, I'm just saying, just ask about the Broxton slap. He's probably not going to tell you though. It's kind of an inside thing. So I'm just, the Broxton slap. It's going to be a, what's the word I'm looking for? It's going to be one of those stories that's going to pop up at some point. I'm just telling you, the Broxton slap. There's a word in the middle, by the way, the Broxton blank slap. You can figure it out. So there was we'll just say a small incident. That's all. I'm just going to leave it at that. There was a small incident. But it's actually kind of fun though when you go to the other opponent's park. It is a little bit different because when you're in the home park, you can cheer and be rowdy and really kind of be obnoxious about it because you got a whole bunch of other fans around you. But when you go to the opponent's park, you got to be a little more careful. Especially when it's like the World Series. I mean, so it's a big deal. Where I've been used to going to, when I go to the Cubs when they play the Atlanta Braves. When I go to it's what is it? Truist Park now. It used to be SunTrust. And then it was, the one before that. They've had like 3 or 4 name changes since I've lived in Georgia. But I was used to it. But however, I got to say that the Atlanta fans are pretty welcoming. I mean, they really are. They're not rude. And plus, there's also a lot of Cubs fans because they travel. A lot of Cubs fans move around and they travel well and all that kind of stuff. So pretty much any park that I've been to where I've watched the Cubs play, there have been Cubs fans. Maybe not necessarily more Cubs fans than the other team, but still enough where you didn't feel like you were completely alone. But again, the Braves fans always very welcoming whenever I go to them. So again, big ups and big kudos and congratulations to all the Braves fans. Robert saying, I'm getting the feeling that there could be similarities to that. I slapped Hercules across the face. Robert's got that Broxton something slap going on too, I think. But he also said they pulled all the context out of the label. Okay, now he's going back. That's what they did. You're exactly right. They made it very generic. The Sam Adams labels, they made them very generic. So I'm not very fond of that. So Smith, I know you're into the Japanese anime and and all that kind of stuff. So
Right.
do you prefer when you're talking about marketing, things like that? Do you like the busy creative stuff, or do you like the minimalist type stuff?
Um, I I think I tend to like the busier stuff. I mean, I love vibrant colors. Now, with that said, I I also kind of like that like minimalist color palette that they use sometimes, where there's like a couple of dark, sort of muted things, and there's like one thing that really pops to you, so that your eye is really drawn to something in particular. Um,
That's good. That's good. I mean,
yeah,
I
I'm
still don't
just
really have an answer, but that's a typical Smith answer. It's
I don't know. It's a weird thinking about the marketing that a lot of them when you look at a lot of the Japanese titles and stuff, it kind of looks like if you remember some of those old like black metal band labels and stuff like that, where it's like it's basically unreadable because it's just lines and dots all over the place.
Were you under the influence when you saw that? It's just a bunch of lines and dots. That's all it was. It was just a bunch of lines and dots.
I need
This was, back in his day. I mean, he could have been pretty rowdy back in the day, So,
Boy.
yeah, I'm playing along. Hey, look at Billy's actually going to make an appearance. I was just talking about you.
I heard it. That's why I'm going to come here to defend myself.
Had to come in. I didn't give it all away. I just teased it. I just said, you may want to ask Billy about it, or maybe it'll be one of those kind of things that just, becomes a legend.
Yes.
The legend of the Broxton B slap.
Yeah. I had no idea we were going to talk about this on today, or that you were going to talk about this on today's show.
Well, I had to talk about the Braves. I mean, come on, that's a big deal.
World champions, man. Does that not look good?
I mean, it does. Look, I've said all along, I'm like, if the Cubs don't win, then I always root for the Braves. So they're my second team. It's Brenda, my girlfriend. It's her favorite team. So I mean, I root for the Braves.
Hey, Robert. Yeah, you can tell these guys have been doing the show without me because like all the light is shining on Paul. It's like you can't even tell who I am in his. But can you see the shirt, the Georgia?
We can see the shirt.
All right, because
I did. I don't know if you saw the show last week, but I did wear my Georgia gear last year.
I saw
last
that.
week.
It looked great, Paul. I'm telling you, when you showed up at my house, I tell you, Paul was nice enough. Last week, one of the funnest weeks of the year is when Georgia plays Florida. By the way, it's called the Georgia-Florida game, not the Florida.
Yeah, I called it. Yeah, I think I flipped it around.
Yeah, it's the Georgia-Florida game. So, but that's one of the funnest weekends that you can have.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it is absolutely amazing. So if you've never been to a Georgia-Florida game, the largest outdoor cocktail party.
That's what it was. I was trying to spit that out myself last week, and I couldn't. I knew it was like, I'm like, it's the world's largest cocktail party or
Yes,
something like that.
That was it.
So,
you nailed it right there.
So there it was.
The world's largest cocktail party. Man, I tell you, we got there and we had great parking. And then when we got out, everybody had on Georgia gear. I was like so excited that I was in Florida and everybody had on Georgia gear. But I think that was because we were on the Georgia side. If I'd have been on the other side of the stadium,
that could have been.
Yeah,
that could have been it. So
anyway,
how was the game?
It was amazing. Paul was nice enough to come pick me up at what time did you pick me up?
Oh, it wasn't that. It was like 8:00.
8 a.m.
It wasn't that early
to take us. We had some friends in the Waycross, so Paul took us so we could participate in the world's largest cocktail party.
That's right.
And
responsibly,
he showed up with his Georgia hat on. I like that. It's the first time I've ever seen you in a Georgia hat.
I had my Georgia hat and I had my Georgia sweatshirt on too. So I was rocking the whole Georgia thing.
Yeah. There's a lot of bandwagon Georgia fans this year.
Of course.
Yeah. Because we are going to win the national championship.
Well, you're favored. I mean, I'll give you that.
I don't know if we're favored to do that yet because we have to get through Alabama.
Alabama's. I'm just sick of them.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to respect their program and the coach and all that kind of stuff. But I'm just sick of them.
But how about Georgia and the Braves having a chance to do it all in the same year?
That's pretty cool. I mean, that's pretty exciting. And then there's the Falcons.
Oh,
big choke. Okay,
they'll come around. But talking about bandwagon, when we went to Sunday night, we went up to Atlanta to let the kids watch the game up there.
Mm-hmm.
We stayed outside in the Battery. Super awesome. Atlanta has one of the nicest areas to have a ball game that there is.
Mm-hmm.
Houston was very cool, but Atlanta's just much nicer, newer. It's very, very nice. And, you saw a lot of brand new jerseys on and stuff, kind of like your Cubs gear. I had on the old fashioned A on mine, and it's bleach stains all over it. I've been waiting since 1995.
Yeah. Well, I had to laugh. I mean, I do have quite a few friends, obviously, in Georgia that are Atlanta Braves fans for obvious reasons. But I had to laugh because some of them, like, I've been waiting so long for this. I'm like, how long the Cubs, it was 100 years since the Cubs won. So I'm like, 20 some years is nothing. Really, it's a drop in the bucket when you're talking about that. But I did think it was kind of funny that they were talking about they waited so long for this and, this kind of stuff. And I was like, it hasn't been that long, really.
I love a good trash talking series, or I love trash talking with fans. Sometimes it doesn't work out, but I love a good trash talk. But now I'll tell you some dumb Florida fans, some things that I heard from I'm not calling all Florida fans dumb.
Just these particular guys.
These particular guys were talking about Georgia has one good year and they act like wait a minute. You're a Florida fan. Okay. 4 out of 5 years we whipped you. You know what I'm saying? And we solidly whip you. I just don't understand how you can be getting beat down for 5 straight years and say it's like a fluke season for the Bulldogs.
Well, plus, again, I'm not trying to bash them, but since they kind of brought that up, it's like, how many times can a Florida fan say Tim Tebow? It's like, let it go.
That's a good one right there. That is a good.
He's a great character guy. But it's like, dude, let it go. It's been a while. So,
guess what I'm going to do this Saturday?
So, what are you doing now?
I'm going to sit down.
Gonna get some rest.
Wow, it's been a great year to be a Braves fan and a Georgia fan, but I'm going to sit down and watch it from the.
Well, I know April came in the other day and she was, she just said, she's like, I am so tired. She's like, we're not kids anymore. This is tough on your body, when you're out late and all that kind of stuff. So it is tough. Plus you were doing a lot of traveling as well.
But here's why it was such an important reason to go to Houston. Number one, I had 3 free World Series tickets.
By the way, before you finish your story, Billy said he had 3 free. So he was going, April was going, extra ticket. Just saying, continue.
Well, we have a very, very special client out there in the Houston area who happens to be a Houston fan. So not only did I get to take the GM of Cowboy Kia, but I took the general sales manager and his son. So yeah, it was a business trip, Paul. I was just handling
business.
I was just handling business.
He was just, okay. That's what it is. Yeah.
We had
like when he goes to the beach looking for dealers, he's handling business.
There's a lot of nice dealers.
Tell you what, that's taking care of business is quite fun for buyback Billy. Let me tell you.
I didn't want to hijack your show. I know you had a plan.
No. Actually, no, I wanted you to come in and talk about the World Series. What was the highlight? Or at least one of them. What was one of the highlights of actually being in Houston for the game? What was one of the highlights?
I wish it would have been like a weekend game because I'm sure it would have been even more fun. But the cool restaurants and the cool things to do around the stadium, they have some really nice bars and restaurants and concert venues. That just taking in the new places that are. I'm 47 years old. It's the first time I got to see things like that.
I wasn't jealous. I was happy for you. Of course I would have loved to have gone extra ticket. I'm just saying, no, but I was so happy for you guys. And April, she's such a diehard. Oh. She's definitely not a bandwagoner. She's been a long time fan. So she's for real. And boy, she takes that serious too. Now
she takes it very seriously. She is a serious fan, and this is a compliment. But she's a rabid fan. I'm a rabid. Yes. I'm a rabid Georgia fan.
Yes.
She's a rabid baseball fan.
So what did you? What was something that you ate at the park? Like actually in the park? Did you?
You know what? I was. Yes, I did. I was not hungry, but I said I'm at the World Series.
Right.
And they had the little hot dogs, but I got the foot long.
Yeah, that's right.
You gotta
go big.
You gotta go big.
Gotta go big.
It was delicious, by the way.
So that's awesome. So the section that you were in, you had to guess how many Braves just in the section that you were in. How many Braves fans were in that section? If you had to guess.
4.
Wow.
We were 2.
Tough crowd, man. Yeah. Tough crowd.
Yeah.
That's really hard when you're surrounded by all the other fans, the other opponent fans. Mm-hmm. It's tough, especially when you're trying to cheer and then you guys do that, that thing and the chop and the chop that somehow accidentally might hit someone. It just might, it gets out of hand. There's a curve or something.
I got a little off balance, I think.
That's what it was. He slipped the seat. There was something on the seat. Kind of slipped. So Brady, by the way, one of our former ninjas. How about them dogs? How about it? So, hey, Brady, how you doing? Robert Brooker saying that is sweating the details. Nicely done, Paul. I'm not really sure what he's referring to, but I'll take the compliment. Yep. I mean, I'll take that. So thank you very much, Robert.
It's just every day for Paul. He's just that good.
And then earlier he said that color is pulling all the attention. He must be talking about the red.
Is that what it is?
Yeah. Remember, I was saying earlier, I like graphics where there's lots of dull colors and there's like a bright red pulling all the attention.
Oh, okay.
And then he walks on screen.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was a little slow on that one. So, well, I didn't know you were going to join the show because I only brought one beer.
That's okay. I've got business to handle.
That's right. Go handle your business.
I'm in sales mode.
Yeah.
Don't you love it when I show up on Friday and I got 5 new events to start?
Of course, yes. Yeah. He's taking care of business, going to the World Series and going to the Georgia game, Florida game, and all kind of stuff. Hey, thanks for the appearance, by the way. Billy W. Merritt, who presents the show and occasionally does a pop in just like that, comes in and joins the show for us too. So now he's back to business. Oh, that's right. I forgot. I got to do this. Smith, like he'll just stare at it like, move the microphone. The microphone's in the shot. Move the microphone. So he gets a little anal about that kind of stuff.
I can still see the other chair. Hey, by the way,
rearrange the whole studio so that Smith can like not have a breakdown.
I was telling you about the chaotic titles and everything. I've probably never given you an example of like a light novel title. A lot of anime are based off of light novel. So here's one. This is just the title of one. The world's finest assassin gets reincarnated in another world as an aristocrat.
What is that?
That's the title of an anime. Now the light novels, the ones that are based off of light novels are the ones that always get like that. There are longer ones than that.
Okay. So
yeah.
You said it was a light, like not heavy, a light
novel. Light novels are sort of like like if you remember something like Animorphs or what were those R.L. Steins?
Yep.
They're like little short books for teenage audiences, basically.
Gotcha.
That's one of the
little
things.
Short books for teenagers. That's what Smith reads.
No, I watch it once it gets animated.
He's like, I'm not reading. When they make it a cartoon, I'll watch it.
Most of them are pretty bad.
Robert, by the way, you're gonna have to give me some input on this. Robert just said Howl's Moving Castle.
These are Ghibli films. I think both of these are.
And Ponyo.
Ghibli films are sort of like the Disney films of anime.
Okay,
that's the simplest way to put
so
it. They're really good.
So have you seen Howl's Moving Castle?
It's been a long time. I haven't watched Ponyo yet. I've watched Spirited Away. That's another one, probably the biggest one. And Princess Mononoke. What was another one?
Princess what?
Princess Mononoke.
Gesundheit.
Yeah.
Bless you.
Anyways, I just wanted to slip that in because I wouldn't have.
Well, hey, I mean, I can just, I can leave the room. You and Robert can have a conversation if you want it. I mean, I could do that for a while if you need to.
No.
All right, let's move on to something I actually know a little bit about. Let's go to our classic rock revisit of the week. The classic rock revisit. We're going to go not too far back, compared to some of the years that I've had some 60s and some early 70s and 80s. We're actually going to go into the 90s. So the 1990 release of the self-titled album by the band Damn Yankees. Now, of course, that's something I've been referred to quite a bit. I mean, since I moved to the South, that's just a thing. They say that, you damn Yankee. No, I've actually been really lucky. I was, when I moved here for radio, when I was on the radio, I was welcomed in, treated very, very nicely by a lot of folks here. So I didn't really, they said it, almost jokingly, or lovingly, if you will. I'm making fun. So I kind of embraced the damn Yankee slogan or logo, whatever the hell you want to call it. And but this album, really good stuff. It's kind of they promoted Damn Yankees as a super group, which that's kind of overdone. I mean, it's like when you just get a few guys from bands and they get together and all of a sudden, it's a super group. No, it's just 3 guys, 4 guys, whatever they're playing. I mean, they're high quality musicians. Don't get me wrong. It's Tommy Shaw, of the band Styx. You know, he was big with Styx. By the way, this was a side project. They didn't leave their bands and disband and all that kind of stuff. They just did a side project. So it's kind of fun. So Tommy Shaw from the band Styx, he was in it. Jack Blades from the band Night Ranger, he was in it. Ted Nugent, of course, is like legendary Uncle Ted, who was a phenomenal guitar player. He was in the band. And so you got now these are three guys that you probably know. I mean, I'm assuming. I mean, you may not know Jack Blades from Night Ranger. You probably know Sister Christian, the song.
Right.
The song Sister Christian. And I'm sure you've heard of the band Styx and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So, but you basically got, Styx was they're a big band, very successful. Night Ranger, very successful. Ted Nugent, very successful. So you got 3 out of 4. And then you got Michael Cardelloni, or however you say his name. And you're just kind of like, who's he? You're like, oh, he's the drummer. So, it's like, he just said, but actually he's played with Michael, the drummer, has played with a lot of different bands, and he's actually recorded. He's actually been this is some notoriety for you. He's been the drummer for Lynyrd Skynyrd since 1999. So, I mean, he's certainly well known. And again, he's played on a whole bunch of different records, and he toured with several different people and stuff like that. So, but the supergroup, the supergroup Damn Yankees, 1990, they released it. It was first album, self-titled Damn Yankees. Really good stuff. High Enough was like the power ballad. It was huge. It was a huge power ballad. They also had a song on there called Coming of Age. Pile Driver is the last track on the record. And it's just like this. That is Ted Nugent's song. I mean, it's just a jam. It's really good stuff. So that's really good. And one of my favorites on the record, aside from those more well-known songs, is Runaway, a song called Runaway. So check that out, the deep cut. It's really good stuff. Damn Yankees, the first album. Now they put out, I know they put out 2 more. There may have been a 4th. I think the 4th one was like the greatest hits package, which was, they did like, oh, here's one new song and all the other songs we had on. So, but I know they had a couple other albums that they released. Don't Tread on Me, I think, was the second album, and I can't remember the third one. And then there was a Greatest Hits, if I remember right. But check this album out. Again, it was really cool. I love the fact that they kept in their bands. So again, it was just a side project. By the way, Tommy Shaw and Jack Blades, who are in Damn Yankees, they actually did an additional side project later called Shaw Blades. So they had an album, My Hallucination, I believe was the name of that one. But so just really good musicians. So it was just kind of cool for them to, take a break, if you will, from their regular bands, give them, another opportunity, another outlet, if you will, to be creative. So pretty cool stuff. Smith, by the way, super creative guy. As much fun as I make of him, I give him a lot of grief, but the dude is very, very creative. So Smith, and by the way, I'm going to call him Sean. I'm going to call him Smith. And by the way, I'm going to bring up, he had his Facebook thing was Smith, his handle or whatever you want to call it, name was Smith for a really long time. And then I was searching for him yesterday and I couldn't find it. And I'm like, what's going on? What did he go? What did he ghost me now? Did I make that much fun of him? He's like, screw him. I'm blocking him, So, but actually you went back to your real name.
I did.
Sean Smith. So tell us about, what's the story, dude?
Okay. So, I mean, essentially the reason I first changed it, not that I didn't want this character to like be the internet persona, and I still do plan on doing that, especially on the analysis channel. But I was starting to do that thing that Billy's always telling us to, get your friends list to 5,000. And part of me was like, well, what if they don't remember who I was? I'm like adding all these people I knew in high school. And I was also thinking like, I'm gonna start putting together like these Fiverr and Upwork things, like to do these like online commissions.
Yeah.
Like I'd like to point them, not that that's always encouraged. Fiverr's weird about that, but you obviously want to give them somewhere that if they wanted to reach out to you, they'd easily be able to find you. And I'm not going to put a fake name on Fiverr or Upwork. So
right.
I don't want them going and searching for Sean Smith and then it's not there. They can't find the right one.
So
it's just
go ahead.
Just utilitarian, purely.
So you said that you're trying to follow Billy's guidance, if you will, or his advice, trying to get 5,000 friends. How many you got so far?
I think it's like 340, something like that.
Hey, you're well on your way to 5,000.
I'm
well on your way.
I was far fewer Facebook friends before. No doubt about it.
Before he came to work here, he had 3. He had Jose, probably Felipe, because he felt bad.
Oh,
And your mom. Am I spot on?
pretty close.
Yeah,
Pretty
they're
close.
probably like 2 or 3 other, like, the anime
Cousins and the like.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say they're probably like anime fans from another country. There were like 3 of those. So you probably hit double digits. He probably had 10. No, look, if I didn't work on the radio when, because in fact, I don't know if I told this story here or not. I know I've told Sean this, but I didn't even create my Facebook page. So when Facebook, was all the rage, and I was like, I don't need what the heck is this? I don't even need this. I don't want this. I really didn't. I was kind of anti social media there when it first came out. And because I was so busy with radio and I just didn't do it. So it was she was my wife at the time, my ex-wife now, Vicky. She actually made it for me. So she was like, yes, you need one. If you're going to be on the radio, you have to have one of these pages. And so she actually did it. So she created my my Facebook page. And by the way, if you go and you look at my profile picture, that has never, not one time, it has never been updated. Not one time. So it's however many years ago now. It is my grandson who is on I've got him on my shoulders, my grandson Jack, when he was, I don't know, like he's like 1, something like that. Yeah, he turned 13. So,
Goodness.
So he looks a little bit different, and so do I. That's for sure. Got a lot more of the white stuff right here.
It's like a time capsule.
A lot more. Yeah, you're right. So, the having all the friends on, because I mean, I totally get it. I mean, Billy always has to delete, to put more on there.
Right.
He's like, okay, somebody's not going to make the cut. You haven't liked my stuff, you're out.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm really thinking. I need more people to like my stuff.
That's what it is.
Well,
and Robert just said, I just bounced between 49.50. Holy cow. He bounced between 49.50 and 5,000. But my waiting list is just beginning at 1,000. So, wow. I mean, he's just, man, Robert's the man. He's up there. Him and Billy are just like up there battling each other. I've got, I think, over 1,000. Woohoo. But again, a whole bunch of those were from when I worked on the radio.
Right.
It was just people like thinking that they were going to win a contest or something if they like my page. So oh, I like him. Hey, give me something free, will you? You got any Wild Adventure tickets? That was always the thing. I don't know how many times. If I had, I'm gonna really sound old. If I had $1 for every time somebody said, "Hey, do you got any Wild Adventure tickets?" I would be a very, very, very rich man. I really would. I mean, I got asked that a lot. Got any Wild Adventure tickets? I mean, it was just a huge deal. When you were a kid, and I know radio lost some of its value, but did you listen to the radio when you were a kid?
Yeah. I mean, mostly through my parents, but yeah, I did.
You ever try to win anything?
I didn't.
Well, that's because they weren't giving away, anime T-shirts and
Yeah.
stuff like that. They just didn't have any of that stuff that was in his wheelhouse.
It was like tickets and tractors. And who wants any of that stuff?
Man, I was gonna say, boy, you kind of made that sound like it was a bad thing.
I know, it's a joke.
He's from here. Smith is from here. I'm just saying that.
It's all
I'm the
ironic.
transplant. I'm the oddball. I'm the damn Yankee. So I'm the one who's supposed to say, yeah, all that stuff. But he's born and raised here. And he's like tractors and trucks and whatever, making fun. So wow, holy cow!
What is that phrase? Irony is purely malicious.
Robert, by the way, he said, "Oh yeah, I want some stuff." They began to ask my brother and sister to stop calling. We had some of those. We did. We had some of those. I'm certainly not going to mention their names, but yeah, wow. You could say I could probably come up with 10. I could probably come up with 10 names right. I'm not going to say their names, but I mean, I could come up with 10 names right off the top of my head still.
Ticket chasers.
Yes. Yeah. Well, we referred to them as, well, I mean, it's not really that bad. We called them prize pigs.
Okay.
We called them prize pigs. It was like, all they want the prizes. They just, give me more, give me more, give me more. And then we had the standard policy that you had to wait 30 days before you could win another. And they would do the same thing. Robert, Robert, did you ever do this? Did you ever, if you called in and you won, did you ever use your sister or your brother's name so that you could claim the prize? Because we had it in the household. We said you had to wait every 30 days for someone in your household to win. And I mean, I had guys over the years. I mean, guys say, "Oh, well, I moved out. I don't live with them anymore." I mean, they would just come up with all kinds of stories, for concert tickets or wild adventure tickets or a t-shirt or free lunch from Zaxby's or something like that. It's just really kind of silly when it came right down to it. So Robert said my family is very competitive. He also said in the summer, when they were helping at work, they would tie up all 12 lines trying to win. I remember that the lines would just ring and ring and ring. Nowadays, I mean, I just talked to a guy, Kevin, who works for us, and Kevin's 26, if I remember right, mid 20s. And I was just talking to him yesterday about this, and he said, I don't, now this is him talking now. He said, I don't know anyone that listens to the radio.
Right.
I mean, he wasn't trying to be, a jerk. He wasn't, bashing anybody. He was just being honest, telling the truth. He was like, I don't know anyone who listens to the radio. Do you ever do it?
No, I really don't. Not unless I don't have the option. And this is something I was thinking of bringing up when we were talking about like the value of music and stuff like that the other day. I think one thing I've noticed in the recent couple of years is a lot of the value is in curation online now, which I think has sort of taken the place of the radio. Like for music, you can go and look up like a 24/7 stream of lo-fi music. You can look up a 24/7 stream of like space ambient music or synthwave or like relaxing piano, sleep music. You can get these like
or some kind of music that somebody knows what you're talking about.
You can what? Yeah, I was gonna say all that's internet stuff because it's all I listen to. I'm sure you can find the same thing for like classic stuff.
No, you're absolutely right. I mean, any format, truly, any genre, any format, you can find it online now. So
Yeah.
somebody has it. I mean, so you can find it.
There's literally like 24/7 streams of what is it like relaxing thunderstorms.
Yeah.
Like everything is out there. And if it's not that, it's podcasts. It's like there's a 24/7
podcast. Who listens to podcasts?
I found here's even more niche. Alan Watts, like traditional dude who talked about like Eastern spirituality and was like trying to bridge the Eastern and Western ideas. You can find like 24/7 streams where they're just looping back and forth between different seminars he done. Like it's all out there to be found somewhere deep on the internet.
Well, bringing it back around to a little more mainstream.
Yeah.
I wasn't going to talk about this, but since you kind of went into the whole music,
I've been waiting to get that in there.
But since you started talking about the different music genres and all that kind of stuff, I have a question now. Since you listen to a little more, we'll just call it a little more off center, type stuff. I'm trying to be kind. But I know that at least some of the mainstream bands and things like that. But so, what's your take on they just did the most recent Rock and Roll Hall of Fame inductees? Okay, so first of all, what's your opinion, if you will, of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame?
Well, I mean, I think it's been fairly prestigious, as they say, for a long time. I think it's cool. I mean, I don't know how much I could really say about it. I think I know where you're going. I can't remember who the artist was. I seen an article about the other day. Just remind me, because it's not like there's like Elvis Presley and Jimi Hendrix, and
there have been some artists more recently. It didn't used to be like this, but there have been some artists more recently that have been inducted, and I have to admit I don't like it, and I'm not trying to be the old codger. I think that they should have a different one. They should have a separate one. Like, instead of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame putting in rap artists and pop stars and stuff, it's rock. It's the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. It's not the rap rock and roll. It's not the pop rock. I mean, are they going to put country music in here now? You know what I mean? I don't really understand. Yeah. I don't understand it. Again, maybe I'm sounding, old and just annoying, but, I love this guy. I truly do. I mean, I think he is super talented. LL Cool J.
Oh, right.
Okay. I mean, I loved a whole bunch of his music. I really did. Mama Said Knock You Out. Great song. I mean, he had a whole bunch of great tunes. But I don't think that they were really considered rock. So he was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And it's just, I mean, I don't think that it's like when you said it's prestigious. If you get in, of course, I mean, it's very prestigious, and you're like, hey, that's awesome. You get recognized by the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. So it's kind of cool, that you get that. But then I see all these other bands that are not in it, and so I don't really know. There's not like a real legitimate requirement or like oh, you got to have this many, you got to have this many top songs, you got to have this many albums, you got to have this many concert sales. There aren't really any real statistics as to like how you get in, so it's just kind of odd that you do that. So I don't know. I just found it kind of odd. By the way, Guy Stevens, guy I went to high school with, he said rap artist, talk about an, oh, honestly, now see, I wasn't going to go there. So he said a rap artist, talk about an oxymoron. Now, I didn't say that. I said that the LL Cool J had some good music. I did say that.
I like a lot of classic rap.
I mean, I'm not, well, see, now that to me just even sounds funny. Classic rap. Yeah. It just sounds odd. I mean, it just does. It just sounds odd.
Old West Coast music, West Coast classic.
West Coast. I mean, I'm certainly not going to say that I'm a rap connoisseur by any stretch of the imagination. Again, the rap that I'm, I guess, familiar with, was all the pop stuff. It was stuff that made pop radio. I mean, I didn't one time buy a rap album, where I was just like, oh, this is a rap album that I'm going to buy. I mean, right. When I used to do mobile DJing, you would have to have some of those that you would buy for work, but I never was like, oh my God, I've got to have the new, fill in the blank. So, or like, okay, Robert Brooker, he just put Snoop Dogg. He says, Snoop Dogg is very lyrical in my opinion. I'll totally give that to you.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll totally give it. But like I said, for me, it was never like, oh my gosh, Snoop has a new album out. I gotta go get it. I just was never a big fan, of that. So anyway, like I said, I didn't want to get, into it a whole lot, but yeah, there, Tupac and Biggie that Robert just brought up. There's a lot of amazing artists in the rap genre. I'm like, why don't they have the Rap Hall of Fame? I don't get it. I mean, I just don't understand. And in fact, so that I don't sound just so old and, ornery about it, if I was a true rap fan, I would be, kind of annoyed that I didn't have my own. And I'd be like, why don't we have our own Rap Hall of Fame? So I don't know. Just like I said, I'll get off the soapbox. I'll shut up, about that.
I think my biggest worry, and maybe this was just like a joke article I seen. I can't remember who the artist was, but are they doing the thing now where have they inducted anyone recently who's like currently like a newer artist? Because I know for a long time you wouldn't get in there. Like,
oh yeah,
because you were currently
no, I can't remember if it's 20 years or maybe it's 15. I can't remember there is a restriction on that.
Oh, okay,
like
awesome.
your first album has to be released within a certain, so there has to be a certain amount. I want to say it's 20. Okay. It's 20 years because like the Foo Fighters just got inducted. Okay, now I've said it. I know I've said it on the podcast before. The Foo Fighters absolutely in one of my top 5 bands that I've seen live. They are so good live. If you ever get a chance to go see the Foo Fighters, do it. They're fantastic. And they put out a lot of great music, but at the same time, they haven't been, they came out in, what was it, 91? I think it was something like that. So when they came out with their first album. So yes, 20 years is a long time, but not comparative to some bands that have been around for 50 or whatever. Right. So I do kind of understand you don't want to induct somebody that's quote unquote a flash in the pan. So like maybe somebody has like just a gigantic, debut album, and then their second album is really good too. So they've had 2 records. Well, you don't want to put them in a Hall of Fame. Right. I mean, they have 2 records. I mean, so it's like, to me, there does seem to have, there should be some longevity, involved. I mean, because otherwise you could just say it's one of the best albums of all time. Or you could say, hey, it's the top 100, rock artists of all time. And there's lists like that everywhere. When you go online, you can find just all kinds of them. But to actually have a Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, like I said, I think it should be rock and roll. It shouldn't be country. It shouldn't be rap. But again, I mean, I'm bringing up LL Cool J, and again, I'm not bashing him. I think he's a fantastic artist. I love some of his songs. But at the same time, there were artists that back in the day that were actually considered more country than they were rock. So yeah. I mean, the 50s rock and roll was very gray. I mean, you know what I mean? It was like, was this a country? I mean, because there were, Elvis, like you said, Elvis had songs on the country charts. He had them on, on the gospel charts, and then on the rock and roll chart. So, I mean, there were a lot of those early like 50s and even some of the 60s bands, they had, that were, I mean, then you had in the 80s, you had like Kenny Rogers. Is Kenny Rogers a country artist?
I don't know.
You know, I mean,
I don't know with a lot of them, especially in retrospect.
I
Like,
mean, you know, Kenny Rogers originally, I think he was a country artist, you know, but then he crossed over, you know, in like the late 70s with, you know, like a song like The Gambler and stuff like that. So, I mean, and then in the 80s, he had, what was that? He did some songs with Dolly Parton that were Islands in the Stream. That was a monster pop song, I mean, on the
yeah,
pop charts. It was a huge song, you know. So does Kenny Rogers belong in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? I don't know. You see what I mean? So it starts to get really gray, you know. So
definitely.
that's where, you know, when they call it the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, I either think they should change it, you know, where it's the Music Hall of Fame or something to that effect, you know, because I don't know, it just seems kind of odd. By the way, Robert, I missed a couple of those, couple of the comments. So Robert said, and Flea sure knows how to slap that bass. Yeah, so I mean, you know, Red Hot Chili Peppers. Robert, remember that time Pat Boone did a rendition of hard rock songs? I do. Sadly, it was very bad. it was very bad. And of course, Smith's going, I have no idea who Pat Boone is, but I can tell you 19 different anime artists and Japanese, you know, what all the different types of genres that you know about. But I wouldn't have a clue. Guy Stevens, he says, Sully, where do you stand on the band versus the solo artists from the band? So, for example, Genesis and Phil Collins, do they both get inducted, or is having been in the band already inclusive? That's probably an opinion thing. I know, like Sammy Hagar, for example. I mean, I love Sammy Hagar. I'm a huge fan of his. I loved his solo work, and then he joined Van Halen. So Sammy Hagar, you know, I mean, he can say he is a Rock and Roll Hall of Fame artist, and he is, but he was inducted through Van Halen. So, you know, he wasn't inducted on his solo work. He was also in a couple other bands, Montrose and a couple other bands that he was in that, you know, so he was inducted through Van Halen. So yes, you know, theoretically, or, you know, legitimately, he can say he's a Rock and Roll Hall of Fame artist, but at the same time, he was in the band, you know, Van Halen. So as far as, you know, claiming that you're a Rock and Roll Hall of Fame artist, sure, you can say that. If you're in a band that makes it, you know, and so you know, you can say that. But if you want to say, you know, my solo work, or, you know, I'm a Rock and Roll Hall of Fame artist on my own, that's different. So, but I don't judge. He also mentioned Sting, and then the Police. Again, I think I liked both. Yeah. I mean, I liked a lot of Sting's solo work. I loved the Police. I mean, if I had to pick, if I was just like, hold a gun to my head, which you got to pick one or the other, you know, then I would say the Police. I like music from the Police. But again, there were a lot of Sting solo stuff that I really liked. Robert Brooker said, Phil did seem larger than life during his reign. He's talking about Phil Collins and then Genesis less so, but great music. And I have to agree. I mean, more and more people know who Phil Collins Phil Collins is, but they maybe not necessarily know who Genesis are. You know, so I think that's a big difference. Synchronicity too, man. That was such a great album. That was, I mean, I used that as one of my classic rock revisits in the show. I don't remember what show number it was, but I did that one. Really good. I mean, Synchronicity 2 had Every Breath You Take, you know, the monster song. But I mean, there was a lot of other great songs on there. King of Pain was on there. And actually Synchronicity was a really good song, you know, on that record. So really good stuff. So good, excellent choices, Robert. And Guy, thanks for bringing up that kind of a unique take on that as well. Because again, that's kind of a thing, you know, do you go, well, you know, do you claim that you're in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame if you're in a band? Well, yeah, like I said, I think you would say yes, that, you know, you could say you are a Rock and Roll Hall of Fame artist if you're in a band that has been inducted. A lot of bands though that, and I think this is where it starts to get, it gets a little sticky because, you know, you have your favorite bands. Because again, I love Sammy Hagar. I loved his solo work. I mean, I think he's phenomenal. He's great live. So, I mean, I'm a huge fan of his. But at the same time, you know, if you're going, all right, is he Rock and Roll Hall of Fame worthy? Or you know, I mean, to me, that should be limited. I mean, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame should absolutely be, you know, the cream of the crop. It shouldn't be, well, let's get some more people in there. No,
right.
I think, you know, if you're not, you know, quote unquote worthy, and all of a sudden I got my, you know, Wayne's World reference in my head, you know, when we're not worthy. But you know, I mean, there's a lot of artists and bands that are not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame that are fantastic. I mean, again, all the music that Smith listens to, none of them are in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
No doubt.
And, you know, because they're, you know, do they have a, what's that music you call it again? The one you listen to all the time?
Talking about lo-fi hip hop?
Yeah. Okay. Do they have a lo-fi hip hop Hall of Fame?
No, and I don't know if it
Did
would.
have a hi-fi hip hop.
No, that's just a dumb question.
I do know
I,
that.
well, this is one of the things that I find
Comic
is
relief.
especially weird today. I, I see tons of those, like I was saying, curation pages that have millions of views on music that like you go and check out the solo artist, and not that many people are looking at the solo artist's page.
Right.
Like they're listening to the playlists and the compilations and stuff because it's convenient, I guess.
Yeah.
It's easier than finding good artists to just listen to Bootleg Boy or whoever who's put together a compilation of the good artists.
Bootleg Boy.
Yeah, that's one of the funnier ones.
By the way, Guy had another comment where he said a band that went through tons of lineup changes over the years, Kiss, for example. And that's true. Some artists that have been in a band, that band gets inducted, but they're not included. So, I mean, that, and again, I don't know who's making that call. I mean, I can understand. All right, it's similar. I'll use this. I mean, going back to my classic rock revisit, the Damn Yankees album, Michael Carlone, he's the drummer now for Lynyrd Skynyrd. Okay, so like, he wasn't part of the Lynyrd Skynyrd, the true, the original, whatever you want to call it, the original Lynyrd Skynyrd band. So, he plays with a Rock and Roll Hall of Fame band, but he's not necessarily a Rock and Roll Hall of Famer. So,
Right.
so I think that's different. And but yeah, there are lots of like you said, Kiss had 4 or 5 different guitarists, and but they're not really what you think of when you think of Kiss. You don't think of those. Sadly, there are guys that are in Kiss now that have been in the band for a really long time, but you still always think of the original 4. I mean, with Gene Simmons and Paul Stanley and Ace Frehley. And Peter Criss. Those are the 4 that you always think of because they were the original guys. Again, there's a little bit of that Van Halen backlash too. That's always gone on. People, when Sammy Hagar took over for David Lee Roth, people called it Van Hagar, and it's not the same. And, they went soft and they sold out and blah, 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 blah. And again, that's all just opinion. I mean, I've said for years, if I had to choose, one or the other, was it, David Lee Roth years or the Sammy Hagar years, I would say David Lee Roth, the earlier Van Halen. But because it's more classic, I guess you want to call it, but I love the Sammy Hagar stuff too, and then my support of my decision, I guess, was, I'm like, well, if I have to choose, one of the bands with the singer and then the other guy gets solo, well, then yeah, I'll take David Lee Roth with Van Halen and Sammy Hagar solo. Because David Lee Roth's solo work to me wasn't that great. I mean, I liked a few songs, but it didn't stand up. Where Sammy, to me, he had some really strong records that were solo. So I could see that, where if I had to choose, it'd be that same way. But yeah, there's a lot of different bands that are like a band that was more popular. In fact, a lot more popular, in my opinion, over the course of the years. Smith, I know you're a lot younger than me, but are you familiar with the band Foreigner?
Yes,
Okay.
I'm familiar with
All right, so Foreigner in like the 70s, like from 75 to 82 or something like that, there was a window of time where they were huge. I mean, they had the song Hot Blooded and Feels Like the First Time and a ton more that I can't mention off the top of my head. But literally they had a ton of hits. I mean, we're talking like monster radio hits, not just, they had an album and it was really good. They had a bunch of monster hits that were on the radio. I mean, Urgent, and I mean, there were just a bunch.
I Want to Know What Love Is.
That's the one. Yeah, that's when they got all soft and sold out and wimpy. And man, that was the downfall of Foreigner. That's why they're not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Oh, we're bringing it back.
A touchy subject. No, but in all seriousness, that was the thing. Foreigner, to me, they've been around now. They switched singers, many years ago, but they had. I don't know how many albums they had with Lou Gramm, who was their original singer. They had quite a few, monster singles. Huge, that everybody knew. They owned FM radio for 4 or 5 strong years, and they're not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. So then, when I judge and I go, okay, in my opinion, so if I'm the guy, if they're like, okay, Paul, we're going to make you the honorary judge of who gets in and who doesn't. If they gave me 2 and I can only pick one, they go, do you want Foreigner in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame or do you want LL Cool J? It's not even close to me. It's Foreigner. So, but that's just, old grumpy man. grumpy old man versions of that. Guy Stevens, for your information, if you're into Chicago, there's a really good documentary on Roku this month. I watched the other night. Very good. Thanks for the tip, because I'll probably do that. I love the old music documentary. Smith and I talk about that a lot off the air. And I only make fun of him on the air. I don't really make fun of him. I make fun of him a little bit off the air, a little bit.
It's got to be an audience.
No, but in all seriousness, by the way, don't forget to set your clocks back an hour. Not tonight, but tomorrow night when you go to bed. Set your clocks back. Those are for people who still have clocks. Smith, have you ever done that in your lifetime?
Yes, I do have traditional clocks, but it's only because it would take an earthquake to wake me from my slumber. It takes me like an hour to fall asleep, but good luck waking me up.
Gotcha.
Got like 5 alarms.
I have to admit, when my digital alarm clock, when it died, I had it for 25 years, something like that. I had it a long time. And when it finally just died, I did not buy another one. So I don't really set my alarm very much, but when I do, I use my phone. That's what the kids are doing nowadays. That's all the kids are doing. So I didn't buy it. I didn't go and buy an alarm clock. So I just kind of use my phone now. So that's just kind of the way it is. People use their phone for everything.
It is nice that it automatically updates.
It does. That's what I mean. So the people who still have clocks, and I do. I still have clocks in my house. I have one like on the microwave. That I'll fix that one in the kitchen.
Yeah.
I've got one in the bathroom. I don't know why. I guess, if you wanted to time yourself.
I don't think I've ever seen that before.
How long is this going to take? Or how fast can I do this? Maybe that's it, but no, I used to have a clock in the bathroom. Like when I would get in the shower, it's like if you're getting ready for work,
right?
So I would do that, but so I still have that. So don't forget to set your clocks back. It's fall back, so you get an extra hour of sleep. But that also means you get a little extra hour of darkness too for the winter. And it's certainly gotten cold here in South Georgia. I don't know. I haven't checked how chilly it's been up north where all my friends are in Illinois, my friends and family. But it's definitely gotten chilly. I say chilly, not cold.
I believe it was 54 this morning.
Oh no, it was 49.
49?
Yeah, when I checked. Well, what time did you get up?
Yeah.
There you go.
I actually slept in a bit this morning.
Sean had to be here at 10:45, so he slept till like 10:35.
I started daylight savings early, if you know what I mean.
That's right.
I woke up like, oh crap.
That's right. Yeah, that's Smith for you. By the way, William H. Vincent Jr. He said, "Why change it? It's right half the year." There you go. You don't have to do that. You can be wrong half the year. But I do. While I've got him on there, I referred to him as Bill my entire life. He's a guy that when he was in my hometown, went to high school. He's not the same age as me, but we went to the same high school. I know their family. His mom and dad are actually my godparents. And but so I've referred to Bill. So Bill, if you're still hanging with us, just one quick question, if you'll answer this for me. Do you want to be called William or do you want to be called Bill? Because I've referred to you as Bill my entire life. So if you become William H. Vincent, like Billy W. Merritt now, if you want to go with that, I'll refer to you as William H. Vincent Jr. But otherwise, I'm going to call you Bill. So if you'll give me the comment. Oh, now he's just like, I'm too good for this. Now he's gone. He's like, no, I'm not even going to lower myself to answer being called Bill. Anyway, so if you get a chance, William H. Vincent Jr. If I can call you Bill, or not. So anyway, have a great weekend. Don't forget the Samuel Adams Winter Lager. It's out now in 6-packs, 12-packs, and cases. It's also in the Beers for Cheers, the winter variety pack. It's really good. I poured it in the glass. It's been gone for a while, but we had some fun talking about the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. So if you're going to be drinking this weekend or anytime, make sure that you're drinking responsibly. Make sure you got a designated driver. Have a great time. Congratulations to the Braves and the Braves fans, the World Series champions. Very cool. So happy for you. Hey, there he is. Call me Bill. So there you go. So William H. Vincent Jr. It's just, it's for Facebook.
AKA Bill.
So there you go. So Bill and Robert, thank you to you two for watching us today. Have a great weekend. We'll see you next Friday. See you.